Welcome to the Queens Coaches Show presented by OrthoCarolina. I'm your host, TJ Shalat. You may have seen Queens in the news a little bit lately as the men's basketball team went dancing for the first time in program history, but you may have missed some other big moments this spring. At the Atlantic Sun Conference Men's and Women's Indoor Track and Field Championship, Oliver Cooper took first place in the men's 800-meter run, and he was also named the men's most outstanding freshman. The Royals made some other podiums as well, with Sarah Sondrick and Marissa Klamorik earning silver and bronze, respectively, in the women's high jump. Vesna Klajovic had to throw a 14.19 meters to take second in the shot put. In the pool, the Queens men's swimming and diving team had another strong showing at the ASUN Championship, being named co-champs after successfully defending their title. Akos Horvath was named the Tournament Outstanding Freshman for the men, while Leonie Tenzer won the Tournament Outstanding Freshman on the women's side. Juan Gonzalez was named Diver of the Tournament, and the coaches added some hardware as well, with Aaron Hintz being named ASUN Men's Diving Coach of the Year and Jeff Dugdale earning ASUN Men's Swimming Coach of the Year honors. The Queen's University of Charlotte men's and women's swimming teams closed out the National Invitational Championships with a stellar performance from the Royals men, who captured the team title with 818.5 points. The Royals men won 7 individual events on their way to the team title. Queen's head coach Jeff Dugdale was named NIC Men's Coach of the Year for the second consecutive season. Let's go back to February 15th, where the men's volleyball team took a 5-set reverse sweep win over then 11th-ranked Ohio State. It was the Royals' first home conference win of the season and first victory over a ranked opponent in 2 years. The Queens baseball team had a road trip down 77 to Columbia to face South Carolina out of the SEC for the 4th straight season. The Royals shocked the college baseball world by taking down the Gamecocks 9-8 in the biggest win in program history.
Jacksonville, Florida here today for the 2026 ASUN Men's Basketball Championship. The Bears getting set to take on the Queens Royals. And here we go. Free ball that goes up by Ty Robinson. 6-0 Central Arkansas. What a behind-the-back pass. That time by Berman. Jabril trying to get it back to Berman. It's intercepted by Hunter. Berman goes down. Hunter gets the easy long three from Ashby.
Shot that from Daytona. Play with pace, but play to your strengths. You don't have to do too much.
Bank is open on a Sunday in Jacksonville. What?
The Cedar man. Side for Schwieger, and he's blocked by Hunter at the end of the half. It's 34-30, Central Arkansas at the half here in Jacksonville. That's Ashby on the triple. It's a 4-point lead for the Royals. Ashby drains this one for their 10.
Long game. Last them out. One possession at a time.
Hunter trying to make it happen.
He is taken over offensively for the Bears.
Hunter spinning to the hole, lays it up, and in! We're tied at 82 with 2 seconds remaining.
Big game, Cameron Hunter.
The OT is underway. Ashby for 3.
He'll take it.
Let's go, Dancy, baby, come on!
Queens Royals. They win the ASUN Championship, and they're going to go to their school's first ever NCAA tournament.
We did it! We did it!
And back to the hard court, the men's basketball team defeated Central Arkansas 98-93 in overtime to win their first ASUN tournament title and grab the conference's automatic bid to March Madness. The following Sunday, over 800 people were in attendance inside Curry Arena to celebrate the team and watch the selection show live, finding out together who the Royals would play in the tournament. A blowout loss to number 2 seed Purdue didn't sour the experience for the teams, alumni, and Charlotte community as they rallied behind the Royals this season. We expect to see all those fans and more next season inside Curry Arena.
Bases loaded, no outs. Cut right, throws. Henson smacks it. Up over the left field wall, grand slam, walk-off win for Lindsey Henson. A 10-6 victory for the first A-Sun Series win of 2026.
And as recently as Sunday, the Queens Royals had another banner day as softball's Lindsey Henson provided the dramatic walk-off grand slam in a 10-6 series-clinching win over West Georgia. Henson was named A-Sun Player of the Week for her efforts. Not more than an hour later on the neighboring field, B.J. Brown launched a 3-run home run in the bottom of the 9th against Jacksonville to give the Royals a 4-3 win in the game and a 2-1 win in the series. Talk about a multitude of success for Queens this spring. We'll be right back with the Royals Roundtable featuring some influential women in the Queens Athletic Department. This is the Queens Coaches Show presented by OrthoCarolina.
The first question out of a kid's mouth is, when can I get back to doing what I want to do?
So in 2019, I was in class and I was doing a jump that I've been doing since I was maybe 6 years old. And my foot went one knee, my knee went the other, and my knee dislocated. It amazes me how I went through what I went through and I was still able to continue my dreams.
Before a city turns to you for answers, before the stories that need telling are told, and our nation's biggest companies look to you to make their next big move. Whenever, however, you're called upon to step up, Queens will prepare you to do just that. Because here, Royals rise.
Welcome back to the Queens Coaches Show presented by OrthoCarolina. I'm TJ Shalott. Tonight's roundtable is the second half of the Women in Sport discussion that we had on last month's episode. Here again are Director of Athletics Sherry Swarthout, Head Women's Basketball Coach Jen Brown, and Assistant Athletic Director for Communications Fee Short.
All right, I'm going to pick my next question.
I like it.
Can I go through the questions?
I guess you can now.
I guess. All right, so we'll go back to the first one. What do you hope to see in the future regarding women's sports?
I'll go first. I'd like to see the pay come to a equal playing field as much as it can. You see all the back and forth in the WNBA about their pay right now.
Yeah.
You saw the back and forth when USA Soccer was trying to get their what they perceived as equal pay for themselves and their share of the revenue from their sports and things like that. And you know, not saying that everything should be equal, but there should be some type of formula to balance out what they're getting paid versus what money is coming in, because the money coming in is as a result of their talent and the product they're putting out there.
Right.
And so I would like to see in the future those opportunities making sense. When it comes to the dollars getting paid out to the athletes.
I would like to say just continued growth, obviously, but more opportunities open up, right? I would love to see more representation of female ADs, right? I think that's important, right? Because we know women are great at being CEOs and CFOs and everything of that nature, but they have to have the opportunity to get a seat at that table. So I think that would be huge as well, and just in general, just continue to invest in women's sports across all women's sports. Like, I've become the biggest fan of women track and field. I cannot take my eye off. It's amazing. Like, the way they train, their bodies, their daily habits. Like, it is. I am thoroughly impressed. I thought basketball was, but I'm like, some track girls, they are nothing to play with. So, just making sure there's a even platform, even equitably opportunities for people to get their stories out. No matter if it's women's basketball, apparently girls flag football is a big thing around here now. I had no idea. I wish I had that. I'll probably be the best wide receiver. Okay, so just continue to get girls involved, at a young age so that they can be confident and grow and get those intangible skills we all talked about.
Yeah, agree. A little concerning is just, you think about the House settlement, roster minimums. You think about sports, not continuing being added, or some of the evolution around, like you mentioned, flag football. We've got to find different ways to open up opportunity, whether it's through club sports, club participation, whether the NCAA grows in terms of emerging sports and things like that. But just because you're only going to have X number of soccer players on a Division I team now. So what is the impact of Division II, Division III, club? How can we continue to foster an environment that gives growth and opportunity for all? And then I think one of the biggest areas is middle school. I think when kids get to middle school, oftentimes there's a decision point where they maybe stop participating, especially girls, and finding opportunities for them where you think about, again, cuts at schools and things like that, certain number of roster spots. But how do we continue to keep young girls engaged in sport and creating opportunities? I already looked at that one. Pick one of those.
Not using the one with that?
Yeah.
I feel like we kind of answered this one.
What is that one?
How can we address the lack of female representation in the sport?
Let me ask you this question. If you had to pick one role model growing up, or, in the last, you're 29, so in your young adult or professional career, if you had to pick one person who was a role model that either made an impact then or continues to make an impact, would you be able to name that person?
I definitely got mine, for sure.
You go. We'll let Fee think.
I know. From a personal standpoint, it's one of my oldest sisters.
Yeah.
Jewel. Her name is Jewel. And it's because when she was 17 years old, she didn't play speed. She's probably the most unathletic person you would ever meet on earth. But she enlisted in the Army. And went at 17, so my mom had to sign and give her permission in order to join. And she went off, and she ended up fighting and serving in Desert Storm. Yes, Desert Storm War. And to see, she's like 5'6", like, I don't know if she can walk and chew gum at the same time. And she came back, and her level of confidence and just the way she communicated and carried herself, I was like, oh, I want to be just like her. I want to be just like her, because she figured out a way, and like probably one of the strongest people I've ever been a part. I actually left home and moved in with her when I was younger. I was like, all right, bye, I'm going to live with Jewel. Just because I love the way she carried herself, and she found a way to figure things out, and that just wasn't common. Back then, I didn't have that real female strong personality, and people, thought she was full of herself, right? Because she's confident, but she had a goal. She wants to go to school, become a nurse, and she figured out a way to get that paid for, and she dedicated her life to service that way. So hands down, my sister, hands down.
That's great. Any thoughts, Bea? Or maybe there's a couple. A couple of folks that have been instrumental.
I would say there probably is a couple, just depending on what stage of life I was in, or I would say growing up, I can remember when the WNBA started and going to see Dawn Staley play. I still have the poster in my room. I go back home with their signatures on it, and I remember standing outside to get signatures with my sister and stuff. And then I can remember points in my life going to basketball camps and meeting, I got to meet Charlotte Smith and Sylvia at a camp, and I remember they were the first female basketball players I saw dunk, and I got to see them dunk at camp. And it was a camp in Greensboro that I was at, and they just came and worked out with us for a day, and then they go dunk the ball, and I'm sitting there okay, I'll probably never be able to do that. I was this height. But something that you didn't get to see, and you didn't know that that was something that was possible. And then like fast forward to high school and I'm playing against somebody that could dunk.
Yeah.
And but I didn't let her.
Yeah.
But just, you know, things, when you see things like that, you can believe that they're possible. And now you see girls dunking.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, she can dunk. Like, but then back in the 90s when you're seeing it, you're like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Like, I haven't seen that. But, and then just different stages in life. Like, I'd say, like, professionally or, like, looking at, like, how I want to model my family and personally and things like that, I would say my parents are big role models for me in that sense. My dad and my mom in different ways. I feel like I've wanted to model different things from them personally when it comes to those things throughout life. But I've also, like, different coaches and things have definitely had major influences on who I am today and as I was growing up and things like that.
Yeah.
So I would say for me, it's probably like a whole list of people.
Yeah. Takes a village.
Yeah, no, I'm kind of the same way. It just seems like at every moment, every stage of my life, there was somebody who stepped up or into it that provided me with that role model that really wasn't readily available.
Yeah.
So from the assistant coach at my high school who opened the door to go to Michigan State to my coaches there with Coach Langland Guevara and Coach Bordner, who were there for all my 4 years and are still in my life today, to then going to work for Jill Hutchison at Illinois State, where that wasn't, she had been there for a long time. She was legendary. She started, you know, she was the first president of the WBCA, all of that. We had a female administrator at the time, Linda Herman, who had been there for a long time and just really laid the foundation in the right way from a priority standpoint and building on what matters, and then being able to come here and work for Jeannie King and then also Pamela Davies. You know, it's like premier leaders throughout every stage that have shown me that what's possible. You know, so I've been very blessed in that area.
Representation matters.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Any last parting thoughts? Gosh, I think for me, it's every single day trying to figure out how you elevate people around you and lift them up and help propel them forward. What are the things that make a meaningful difference? You know? So I think that's all of our missions here, you know, in life, but certainly in college athletics. It's all about empowering that next generation and showing them the way, just like we were shown the way through our own experiences.
Yeah, I would just say that representation matters, right? Being able to pay it forward to people coming behind you, and it's making sure that, although it's hard and challenging, but keeping the main thing, making sure you're a mentor, you know, always trying to be a good human being in everything you do, and understanding that don't take anything for granted, right? Anything for granted, and sport can be beautiful if it's used the right way.
I always tell people it costs nothing to be a decent human being.
Amen.
And so I feel like if you walk through life with those intentions, with good intentions, show empathy and understanding, communicate, talk to people, and actually listen and hear what they're saying when you're communicating with them, you can definitely make a change in somebody's life, make an impact. And I feel like a lot of people definitely made impacts in my life that probably don't even know they made those impacts. And I like to say, like, any interaction can be an impact on somebody's life. So, you know, though I do like to sit in my room quiet by myself, I do know that those touches with different people throughout the day can impact their day, their life, and as they move throughout life and things like that. So
nice.
Great.
Cool. Thank you.
Thanks again for all those who participated in our Royals Roundtables. You can see all of them in full on our YouTube channel at Queens Sports Network. Get all of your Queens info at queensathletics.com and stay up to date with all the broadcast events on socials. Just search Queens Sports Network. For our entire Queens University Sports Network crew, I'm TJ Shalott saying so long for now, and thanks for watching. This has been the Queens Coaches Show presented by OrthoCarolina.
The first question out of a kid's mouth is, when can I get back to doing what I want to do?
So in 2019, I was in class and I was doing a jump that I've been doing since I was maybe 6 years old. And my foot went one knee, my knee went the other, and my knee dislocated. It amazes me how I went through what I went through and I was still able to continue my dreams.
Before a city turns to you for answers, before the stories that need telling are told, and our nation's biggest companies look to you to make their next big move. Whenever, however, you're called upon to step up, Queens will prepare you to do just that. Because here, Royals rise.